53, 54 millimeter, I think. The ones I have in front of me are called OG Classics, but we also have some radials.
We got Spitfire from the floor.
Yeah.
There's some nice ones.
And so they're all going to work pretty much the same. The difference, they're all going to roll.
Yeah.
But the differences in the wheels, if you're interested, are usually besides size and hardness, the shape is going to maybe determine how much surface area you have on the wheel. Some of them are very narrow, some of them are very wide. If you hold the ones I'm going to put on next to the ones the jaw is going to use, these are a little wider. Do they make a difference? I mean,
I feel like hardness does more than
any
width.
Yeah, anything else.
Like my board has firm-ish wheels, and if I try to like street skate, it's very difficult because I fall over all the time. You want a softer wheel if you're like rolling over cracks and pebbles and all of that jazz.
Yep.
Do wheels like wear out and have to be replaced?
They do. If you take care of your wheels, it takes longer, but they will eventually wear out. Nothing here is permanent, right? I mean, not even us. But I mean, that's the deep existential discussion I was talking about.
Here we are.
I didn't mean to, it was an accident. But if you're skating a lot on your board and you're landing in a bad way, or if you just have skated for a long time and you land hard, you can crack your board in half, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, after a long time, after a lot of use. The wheels, yes, they can get flat spots. Some companies claim to have less flattening, like the Formula 4 in the Spitfire, they claim to have less flattening than other wheels. Is it a marketing gimmick? Some people think so. Because, people also have grip tape preferences, and how much difference is there in grip tape? Not a lot, in my opinion.
Is grip tape just basically sandpaper that's sticky on one side?
Yes. Yeah, it is, and it makes your rubbery shoes just hold onto the board a little bit better. So anyway, all of the wheels that we have today, I believe, are 99 durometer. That's the way they calculate how hard a wheel is. We have wheels that are at 101 or 103, that's hardest. And then as the number goes down, it gets softer. So let's not open our wheels just yet, because they'll fly all over the place and we'll all be sad. I always am. Okay, so we talked about wheels. Bearings are in this little box. We'll open those in a minute too. Those will go all over the place. They are little discs that have ball bearings in them. They have covers. Oh, and Sarah's going to open it so you can see it. Awesome. Thank you.
Or bad, so this gets full.
And that's what makes the wheels turn. I mean, if you are a builder at all, you know about bearings. The truck bolts are in this little tube. You can open them up if you'd like. Just be careful, because I dumped one all over the place earlier today. Hardware is hardware, in my opinion.
You don't have I like the different color options.
I like the different color options.
Those are fun.
This particular brand is one of my favorites because it comes with two differently colored bolts that we are going to use today. They come with 10 bolts altogether, where other companies come with 8. So you can decide if you're going to use black.
Are these like non-standard size bolts and bearings?
These are, I don't know.
Skateboards or in
No, I just mean like
In general?
why couldn't you buy like wholesale just kind of bearing? Like, do they have to be specifically skate bearings and like skate bolts?
One of your bearings. So the reason they are skate bearings is because, I wish we had one that we could take apart, but you can see at the back, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little bearings in here, and they are sized specifically, see, I'm dumping them already. They are sized specifically to go on a truck and to fit into a wheel. So I suppose if you found one that fit, yes, you could absolutely use it. They also have different levels of bearings, because there are also a ton of different kinds of skate bearings that you can get. Some of them come with hardcore covers on both sides. Some would come with a cover just on one side. Super cheap bearings, covers are not that great. And you can prolong the life of your bearings by keeping your board dry. And if it does get wet, drying it out and or cleaning them if they get dirt in them. And you should clean your bearings every once in a while. These particular bearings are not terribly expensive.
Okay.
I think they're like $19 at our park, and they're probably comparable everywhere else because the company likes to keep the price about the same everywhere. But you can get bearings that are made of ceramic, and those are $180 for a set. So that's more than some people pay for an entire deck, an entire build. So, give that back to you.
Is ceramic like significantly better?
It's smoother, they're faster, they don't rust. I don't know if they break. I mean, they're ceramic, but I feel like they're hard.
They're encased.
They're encased. They shouldn't break. They're high quality bearing, but if you're new to skating, it's not gonna make much of a difference. In fact, they might even be too fast when you're starting to learn.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I've
Too
had
smooth.
Too smooth.
Yeah.
I've had people come in who want to buy a new board for their child. They're like, only the best. They're like, do you have ceramic bearings? I'm like, that's a bad idea.
Give me
But if that's what
most
you want,
dangerous, fastest thing you have.
if you would like the most dangerous thing, sure. Do you want a helmet too? Because I got lots of those.
Yeah.
All right. So the hardware, yes, you could also buy that separately. But this is like $5 for all of these. You get 2 little blue ones. They all match. And the thing about all of the products that we carry is they are all standardized, so they all fit on different boards. So let's see, where are we up to? In the list. Okay. So the truck bolts, the truck nuts. So the truck bolts, they're all in there. Truck bolt, boop. Truck nut, boop. They fit on each other. They come as a set. And any kind of skate hardware you're going to get, they're going to have at least a set of 8. This has a set of 10 bolts and 8 nuts. And then spacers, we'll see in a minute. If you look at your trucks, there are these little, I guess we don't have spacers for the back. These are just the washers that we're going to use.
Yeah.
The spacers, you can use, not everybody has them. Some bearings come with the spacers. These don't, and it's okay, you don't always need those. And the axle nuts, there they are right at the end. So those are all of the parts. Boopity boop. The thing that we're gonna start with, the thing that we always start with is the grip tape. So I'd like to demo putting the grip tape on, so I'm actually really glad that not everybody's here because it's hard to explain. Like, just put it on like a sticker.
Yeah.
We're gonna open up our.
Yeah, unwrap your boards.
Yep.
The plastic, remove that. And you can take this, if you're just stickered, like you can take that off.
Yep, I like to peel it off just so that we get the greatest adhesion of grip tape. Your board may or may not have a sticker. They don't all come with stickers. Sorry. But as we go through, you'll see that there are a lot of stickers. Stickers is a big thing in skate culture.
Oh yeah.
I've got some stickers for you in a little baggie over there. I'll give you in a little bit. But you can put that aside. You can put it on the board. You can hold on to it. It's really up to you. But if your board does have a sticker, a sticker that's stuck to it, like a warning label. I just take my little razor blade and be careful. I just scrape it off a little bit, and then usually it'll just come right off. If there's a little bit left, I'm not going to go crazy about it because life is just way too short for that.
Here's an extra big.
Excellent.
Toss all the plastic
Shut up.
away.
Right over there. And get ready because we're about to make a lot of trash. Okay, so.
Is this you who texted me? 571?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Because I just noticed it. I was like, shit, has someone been waiting there for 20 minutes? But it was you.
All right, so once you're ready, give me the fine. You're probably doing.
I'm just chipping away this little sticker, but no, it's really here.
Grab this. Yeah, just really slip it under. And bring it in.
So I was under the impression, when I think of a skateboard, they have grip tape all over the entire top.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Like mine.
Because these are all pretty, so like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I have clear. You
Ah.
can see the board. And also sometimes like people do like strips where they're like removing it because your feet aren't usually in this zone.
Right.
They're usually under the trucks. So it's like originally you can see like I have regripped mine. I had a triangle like in a different color grip tape. It's just like
So I would leave your
like
wheels together
reference
for now
and
because they really
okay.
will go rolling
Yeah.
all over the place.
there's a lot of
You'll like dump it
variation.
over and it'll go rolling out the door and you'll be
Got
like,
it.
where's my wheel? I say from personal experience. So, where did I put my
All
grip
right.
tape? I'm gonna put it down over here.
Yeah, I can do the extra one.
So, grip tape. It's a gigantic sticker.
Nice.
So what I'm gonna do
Tape over
is,
that.
Yeah.
yeah, if you take it off, then don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Not really a big deal. So what I like to do before I take the backing off is I usually like to make sure it's gonna fit. And if you put it down over your board, you'll feel that there is a little bit of an overhang. You don't want too much of an overhang, so like they make different widths of grip tape. They make 9-inch, 10-inch, 11-inch, maybe some weirdo makes 12, I don't know. But if you have too much, like if you do an 8-inch board, 8 inches is how we measure. We measure the board by the width.
Mm.
This is an 825, an 8 1/4 inch wide board. If I was going to put 11-inch grip tape on this because I had nothing else, it would suck a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd have to do some
Waste.
extra thing, a lot of waste, but I'd also have to do some extra things to make sure I could get the grip tape to stick or to cut correctly, because you know, you put a flat thing on a curvy thing
Yeah.
and then you've got to make some room. So you'll feel as you put it on, there's a little bit of an overhang on each side, and that's what we want. If it doesn't work out that way for you, it's really not the end of the world. I know skaters who like to do this, so they know which direction to put their board. As Sarah was saying, sometimes we'll make little artful cuts so that we can see the lines of the deck color through. But today we're going to do the easiest one, which
the
is
basic.
peel and
Okay.
stick.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is just super curvy. I don't know how curvy anybody else's is, but before you
Yeah.
unstick it, just take a look and see what I do. Like a gigantic sticker. Ooh, I'm going to stick it down. If I make a mistake,
Mm.
it's not the end of the world. We can unstick it 2, maximum 3 times before we lose the stick.
If I want to leave this brand art here, should I cut it before or can I cut it after?
No,
sticking?
you'd want to cut it before if you were going to
Okay.
do that. I don't think we have any cutting surfaces though, so
Yeah.
I'm not.
We have one for the vinyl cutter back there. Like a big cutting board.
Okay. I mean, you could do it. I will tell you that
Here.
you can do it if you want.
It's just more work.
It's more
For
work.
you.
It takes longer.
I'm fine
You're-
doing a
you're-
bit more work just to make a nicer board for some kid.
I mean, so let me just talk about cuts
Okay.
for a minute. So when you put your feet on the board, they, depending on where you put the cut, it actually makes, I mean, I don't actually like cuts. They're pretty,
They're pretty.
but there's more of a chance that your grip tape is going to peel up. So
Ah,
the best
okay.
thing to do for a new board rider is to have a full sheet,
Mhm.
because it won't pull up. It'll be a much longer, especially if we're donating those boards, it will last longer. And so that's why we're doing full
Okay,
cuts.
okay.
Full cuts today.
Sorry, fancy lad.
Sorry,
You're not gonna be
it's
fancy
okay.
anymore.
He'll understand. So I like to hover my grip tape over, make sure that it is as parallel as I can get it, straight, as square with the board as I can get it. And then I just move it over just a little bit and I lightly place it down. Oh, it's really sticking to my fingers today. And then I feel, before I do anything, I feel to make sure that there's some kind of margin. Unless you're like super amazing sauce, it probably won't be perfect. I almost never get it perfect. But if there's enough that you're gonna be able to cut it off, because we're gonna trim it down. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. If there's enough that you can trim it down, that's all you need. And if you've got that, I like to start at the center and just sort of press it down, and then I work my way out with my little fingies. I want to make sure that there are no air bubbles. Now listen, if there is an air bubble, again, it's not the end of the world. What we're going to do is we're just going to poke it with our razor blade. And that's, again,
It's really technical.
Really technical.
Yeah.
It's not the most ideal thing to do because that, again, is something that can cause some unwarranted wear and tear on the grip tape. So when you get up to the top, go slowly because there will be, because again, we're laying flattening on a curved thing.
Yes.
There will be some weird little bubbles that you'll want to gently work out.
Is there like really
If
the
you're
length?
short.
I mean, it's,
I think that the length is variable because I have a lot of length on
oh,
them.
okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know who cut this. It wasn't me. But that's okay because then you can just like not.
Yeah.
Great. I
Anyone
love
need assistance? Let's holler at me.
Go. If it's too tight to make contact, like if it's made contact at the very edge and you can't get it to press down, just rip it up a little bit, kind of like getting a bikini wax and just put it right back down.
Should we wrap it around the
No,
edge?
do
or
not.
cut-
So you
cut?
don't want to
Okay.
wrap around the edge. We're just going to lay it down for now, but that is a good question. The next step, the last thing I want to do is do the whole thing and be like, go,
Yeah.
make it, you can do it. So that's why we're just going step by step. It's, I don't know. I like to watch the whole video before I do the thing. But then I watch the whole video, then I go back, and then I do the thing step by step. So that's who I am. And then once you get all of that down, I have this fun little tool. I don't know where Carrie got this. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. You can use a wheel to roll it. I don't like doing that because I always get my fingers under the wheel. Like when I'm rolling it, there's something happens. Like I have no. So I like to do a little rolly, and I will send this around. Hear it, and you'll hear a crackle. If there's anywhere it's not. Yeah, they're little tiny bubbles, and sometimes it's just because your fingers are not flat perfectly.
Right.
You're not
Not
applying.
exerting as much pressure.
Mhm.
Perfect flat.
I mean, I know you do. So I'll pass it around. You can give it a little press. So I can hear the little crackles as I adhere it all the way.
So you're just trying to get out the air bubbles?
Just trying to get out the air bubbles.
This is kind of like how you put on a screen protector. Like on a phone if you're trying to do it like legit.
I mean, I guess that's true. When I put my screen protector on, I'm always like, poke, and then it goes, whoop, and then there's a bubble. I'm like, what the? And I get out my little card. I'm like, it never comes out. I mean, I've only had one of these. So when you get to the top, if you do like go over the edge and it sticks down, that's not the end of the world because what we're gonna do is we'll pull it up. So I'll send this over to you if you want to
Okay.
give
So
your.
just start in the middle and then just work out the bubbles.
Yeah, I actually did a great job. I don't hear any crackling. Well, there's some.
Yeah.
Spoke too soon. Where is that?
Right.
So does everybody have a screwdriver? Yes.
Those are Phillips.
A bunch of the little ones.
I don't know what this does. This does not do what I need to do.
Oh,
Look at that.
no idea.
Use the Allen wrench.
It's like a dental
They have
box.
the Allen wrench on the T-tool.
Oh, excellent.
I have a screwdriver on this, but I don't know how to use it.
Oh, we're gonna take
How do I
it out.
get?
No, that's a good question. We're just gonna push it out and then.
Oh, I was trying to pull it out, and that was obviously not going to work.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. So our tools at the park don't have those in them anymore because they're easily lost.
Yeah.
And so I just use like a long-handled screwdriver, which I have a favorite. Got a handle, a screwdriver. I also have a favorite tool. It's the really beat up bronzing tool. It looks exactly like the Spitfire tools, but
Oh.
beat upier. So it's my
Don't have a
favorite.
favorite.
Where's the restroom?
Out to the right, and then through the door, and then on your left.
There's multiple restrooms.
Oh.
There's like a tattoo studio down there on the right, and they take care of that restroom, and it's like so clean. And then there's one down here with stalls, and it's like, I mean, there's like building custodians,
They don't care.
but it's not as nice.
They don't care about how to
I usually go to that.
Yeah, I just discovered that one, and Erin was telling me, she's like, yeah, the tattoo place, I think it's tattoos or something, but they take care of the bathroom there because they get clients that come.
Right.
We also have, I don't think I've told everyone, seltzer and canned coffee in the fridge. I have to buy more.
Sit down
Feeling.
and this next.
And here's the travel.
Yeah, like right.
Yeah, right there at the point that it pitches up.
And if you, so when you get to the tool, if there are bubbles and you cannot get it out, you know, we try. Again, not ideal, but sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta do.
I recently covered all of my kitchen counters with contact paper because they were ugly. And there were some little bubbles that I had, and I poked them with a little pin.
What you gotta do.
That's all.
What you gotta do. And it's sticky, so it's not like it's just gonna be flapping around. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
gonna stick down, but, you know, when you do it for a child, I love children. I have them myself. I teach them every Saturday morning, but they're children and they're not, you know, super responsible all the time or cognizant of things that are not the best for your board. So, you know, if you have a particularly irresponsible, it's a bad word for a child, they're all irresponsible. I mean, because their brains aren't developed, I feel like I have to like provide all of these caveats. But you know, then you might want to be very careful about A, putting holes in the tape, and B, doing the lines. Like I have done lines for children, and it's like, I'm gonna be redoing the script tape in about 2 months.
Well, they have tiny feet too.
They do.
You know.
They do. They have tiny feet. So they need more grip.
So yeah.
But oh my gosh, I was trying to do 3 lines like Adidas style for a child that I know, and I love his mom, and she was like, "This is a birthday present, and he's gonna love it." And I'm like, "Oh right, I'm gonna do these lines." And Carrie came in and said, "What the heck are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." It's like, "Stop it! You need to take that all off and do it again." I'm like,
Oh wow.
Ow, Carrie.
Like
He's like, he was like, do not do 3 lines. At the most, you do 2 lines, and that is it.
Why?
It just didn't.
There's more of a risk that it's gonna
It's gonna unstick.
stick.
It's super easy to get the sticky off. And the thing is, if you've had grip tape on a board for a while, it is gonna wear out. Again,
Yeah.
nothing is permanent.
But yeah, it's not the end of the world because you re-grip your board.
You can. I mean,
You know?
if you have not broken your board or worn it out from skating, you will probably have to re-grip it at some point.
Yeah.
You can clean it. It's not easy to clean, but you can clean it. You just have to put on a really great movie or two and get yourself a toothbrush and some soapy water and scrub a dub. And then you have to make sure you dry it really well. And then you can clean it. There's also a gummy substance that you can buy. We sometimes have it. We don't have it for sale right now, but we have it for use at the shop. And you stick it, and it pulls off all the gum that it's gotten on your grip tape. And then if it's just really beyond repair, what you do is you take a hair dryer or a heat gun. I don't like the heat gun option because it's really hot.
It's really extreme.
It's very extreme, but if you have a hair dryer, it usually melts the adhesive just enough so that you can pull it off. Does not always come off in one strip, so sometimes you'll be pulling it off in strips, so that's kind of a bum. But there's that. Sometimes it will come off in one strip, and you're like, I'm gonna go play the lottery today because that was great. So, like I said, you can replace grip tape. It's not that uncommon, actually. I wouldn't replace grip tape that's already been laid down with clear grip tape because you're gonna see all that goo underneath.
Do they have like more stylized grip tape with like patterns on it?
Yeah, so you can, we don't sell a lot of it at the park. I'm sure that you can get it online. There are a lot of different grip tape companies out there. We right now are carrying Mob and Jessup, they're black. We have one company, I think it's Mob, that makes clear. And then we have a vendor who actually does handmade graphics, like hand painted. They're not hand painted, but he makes stencils, and I don't think it's screen printed because I don't know how you would do that on a grip tape. But they're pre-sliced pieces of Mob, which is one of the companies. And then he likes to work with Simpsons imagery, Calvin and Hobbes. He does some Misfits stuff.
But if it's basically sandpaper, you just do sand art, right?
It's
not sandpaper?
He paints it. I think it's spray paint maybe that he stencils over. And it wears off, again. But he usually puts it in a place where you're not going to put your feet anyway. Because when you're riding the board, your feet will end up in the middle, but they shouldn't very often. They're mostly going to be, if you turn it over, you can see the holes. That's where the trucks are going to go. You're going to try very hard to keep your feet over the trucks as often.
For balance.
For balance.
Because unless you're doing a trick, you don't want to be there.
Exactly. So if you're riding, if you're landing, your feet are going to be here. And so the graphic usually is right here where it's not going to be disturbed as much. And because that's handmade art, it's a little bit more expensive than getting just a piece of basic black. We sometimes carry colored, like it's all one color. And so we've had adorable children come in and do mosaics of grip tape, and that's a terrible idea. If you want it to last. But I mean, if you don't care, if it's an old board, then yeah, of course you can do that. You can do whatever the heck you want, it's your board.
I found that the clear is not as, the adhesive isn't as strong. I don't know if Perry changed the brand, but
No, it's still Mob.
Okay.
Still Mob, but yeah,
Have you found that?
We don't like the clear because it gets dirty really easily. It doesn't stick as well.
Yeah.
I personally like Jessup better for cutting purposes. But some people claim that, I say claim because this is all very subjective. Some people like Jessup, some people like Mob. I'm sure that there are other companies that people like also. But, as long as it's doing its job and keeping your feet on the board, I think that's the most important thing. Okay, next step, we need to outline an area. So we can take a screwdriver or we can take a piece of metal. Doesn't really matter what it is. Oh, that's cute. That's not the one I want, but I'm gonna use it anyway. And if you take it, I have to sit.
Do you want the file?
I do want the file, but nobody else has a file. So
You're gonna
this works just as well. So you take the metal and you just scrape it around to outline. Let me get to the top. To outline the board. I like to give it a pretty hard scrape, but you don't want to go all the way through the paper because that makes it harder to cut.
Okay.
But if you want to grab one of the longer ones, just so you have some metal, it'll be easier. You'll hurt your fingers.
Also watch your knuckles because I just gave myself
I have done that. There are some boards out there with my DNA on it.
This works really well.
But don't hurt yourself. There's no customer in front of you watching, judging your technique. Absolutely not. And you will notice if you scrape, it's going to bend around. We're going to fix that later, so don't worry about it. That's good. One more time around. Okay. So.
The long one looks pretty well.
I like she's small and here.
I got a
I think the longer the twist, the
It is.
easier it is.
My favorite tool to use is actually a long triangular, like small file. But we only have one, and as we've used it through the years, it's gotten shorter. Like, I don't even know how that works. But it used to have like a pointy end. Now I think this is Carrie's favorite tool. Carrie is the owner of the skate park. But this is his favorite tool. It's okay. I think it's unwieldy. I like the round. I like the smaller ones because I can just zip
you can
it.
just like fly along.
Yeah, this one you're like, oh my god, why is it so heavy? I mean, not really, but that's my opinion. Okay, so if you're like me, as you were doing your outlining, the edge of your grip tape bent around the side. And we don't want it to bend around the edge because that will make it much easier for it to peel off because it'll get grungy, it'll get dirty, and then that will work itself out. So when we end up cutting it, we want to make sure that there's just the ever so much hint of deck color showing. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second, but you can go around and peel it up. Just know that whichever side you're not cutting is going to press against your body, and you're going to press it back down anyway. I'm still going to peel it up because that's how I roll. But we're going to peel it up just so that it's back to where it was flat. And then let me show you how I cut the grip tape off. This is going to be super fun. If we did have an overabundance of grip tape, if we had an inch hanging off, what we would do is, I call it the hips. It's not really the hips, but it's like these dips here where it curves up. I would cut them to give them some space so that it was easier to flatten, so it was easier to get the bubbles out, and so that it was easier to cut. But the most egregious spot, I think, is probably just the semi-long spot here. So I would do that and that. Okay, so the switch and signal approved way of cutting grip tape. This is maybe the most anxiety producing for me.
I think for most people.
For most people, when people come in and they will buy decks, they will have been skaters for years, sometimes decades, and they're like, "Can you do it?" And I'm like, "Sure, of course I can." But just know that it can be very anxiety producing. I want you to know that when you cut the grip tape, it is better to not cut enough because you can go back in and trim it down a little bit. If you overcut, if it rips into the board.
If you overcut, you have situations like this.
Oh, you can show. What are you talking about?
There's some spots that aren't perfect, but you can see, I mean, you can talk about it, like, there's some iffy issues, but overall,
Well, that's, I mean,
right
maybe.
here, maybe.
I mean,
would
so
feel a little divot.
my most egregious errors when I've been cutting grip tape are like cutting it and then it rips into the board. And you're like,
yeah.
"Aw,
Yeah,
dang, what do I do
yeah,
now?" Then you
yeah.
rip it off and you do it again.
You guys can
But,
Like what? Like these spots or what?
yeah, the little, where you can
she's
see.
being ridiculous.
I
Like,
mean,
it's not, like, perfectly perfect.
you like
Yeah.
giving this board body image issues. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I know,
It's
right?
fine. Like
That's exactly what I was thinking.
little
Like, that is not-
imperfections are just
Not an
normal.
issue right there. But you know, like when my brother does it, he can do a perfect job, and I'm like, what the heck? But he's been doing this for like 30 years. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the other side. Is probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut in. I like to cut in at the little, like right where the flat part starts. There we go. And then I hold it with. Is anybody here left-handed?
No.
Thank God. I tried to show a lefty how to do this the other day, and I was like, oh no! I just explained it in the wrong way to this poor left-handed person. But what you want to do is take your non-dominant hand and hold the board on the nose. This is how I do it. It's okay if this is not comfortable for you, if you want to do it a different way. The most important thing is you do not want to cut towards your hand. For the love of God, that's what I was trying to correct. So when I was trying to help this poor left-handed person, he was a child. He was a teenager, but still a child.
Right.
And he was holding it, and I can't even do what he was doing. I guess, here's my left hand. He was holding it, and he was like going like that. Which you
At
don't
his
want to,
hand.
yeah, first of all, you don't want to push it, because you're going to push it into your board. Also, you don't want to cut towards the webbing of your thumb. That is like the most painful place to get a cut. And I will say I have cut the pads of my fingers and they bleed like crazy. Just because I haven't been paying attention and I'm holding the razor blade in a bad way. But not actually, I haven't cut my fingertips doing
Is it recommended just to hold a raw blade, like not use like a thing?
Is there a specific tool? I've only ever used a.
I have
razor
never
blade.
used a tool.
Like not like
Yeah.
an X-Acto or anything?
Well,
No.
the X-Acto is going to give you the wrong angle because
Okay.
what we're going to do here, I'm so sorry, let me stop talking and actually show you what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to cut in and we're going to hold the, actually can you pass me a board that's not gripped yet? Thank you. You okay?
Yeah, I just did this.
So when you put it on the board, you're holding it, all of us, look at that.
Okay.
You're holding it at this angle that's sort of right on the top of the ground, so don't cut it. And you're dragging it along so that you're cutting just, what ends up happening is the grip tape cuts just past the curve on the side.
And that's what you mean by like show a little color? Like,
So yeah, so that color wraps around, but
okay.
we don't want the grip tape to wrap around.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want it to just be on the flat surface. But like I said, I'm sorry. So we're gonna cut it, we're gonna pull it this way. And so if it does wrap around, it's really, okay, it's not easy to trim, but it's easier to trim than to put it back, because you can't put it back. You know, you ever cut
What
your
angle
blade?
would you say? Like a 30-degree angle? Like what do
You
we
went
do?
to music school, right?
What is that? 25?
I don't know if it's 25, I think it's more than 25. What would you say?
Okay, like pretty
30.
Flat.
Pretty flat.
Pretty flat, but of course, you know, it's like you're
Okay.
going, can you see what I'm?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And so you want to be careful not to put so much pressure on it that you cut into the board. If you do cut into the board, back up. It's all right. We'll fix it. It's not a big deal. I mean, not a huge deal.
So like, is this
The ideal, was that too much taken off?
That is fine. And so I'm gonna do this. I like to. This is my old world craftsman pose right here. Do you like it?
I love
I
it.
just sort of.
I was never told to like fold it in this particular way. Do you know Wendy that used to work with?
Yes, I know Wendy.
Yeah,
I went to high school
she's
with
the
Wendy.
one who showed me how to build.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh boy, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Hmm.
I have limited
Am I
instruction.
doing this right? Kinda. I see color. Okay.
Yeah, and again, like I said, when you know, going around the curve can be a little daunting, but once you get like that perfect angle of your blade,
Is it better to just do it kind of slowly?
at first, absolutely, yes. Slow is always good, and then as you get faster, as you get, you know, more, skilled at cutting the grip tape, you can't go, like Terry, like I said, Terry
He
pokes a
just-
hole in it, he doesn't even cut in, he just pokes a hole and
And it
goes, and then he
yeah.
has this perfect outline of the board.
Yeah.
Should it feel like you're peeling an apple with a razor blade?
I
I've never tried that, so I don't know.
don't know. There we go.
I feel like I get on a roll and then I snag up. And
Oh, for
that's
sure.
what I-
No, well, if you saw what I did in the beginning, I also got snagged.
Yeah.
And that will happen if the board is not like perfectly smooth all the way around.
My edges always super uneven like that.
So, if you go too slow.
Okay, I'm going too slow.
Yeah, but if you hold it, I like to hold the tape. It's
Okay.
sort of like a practiced thing, and then you can sort of
Oh,
like work it
okay, yeah, I
through.
wasn't holding. Okay.
But, you know, it might not be, sorry about that, it's really sticky. Oh no, it's bad news. If you, I forgot, I just like lost my train of thought. When my son raptured with taking the grip tape off.
Uh-huh.
You know, I've been doing this for a while, and I've done my share of shitty boards, and I've had to redo it. But it just takes practice, and I'm not trimming my board yet because I'm just gonna wait until you're all at that spot. What are you doing?
Any advice when you get around the curve?
So yeah, can borrow your voice the curve. So when you get to the
all of ours is gonna be.
yeah, listen, when you do the grip tape for the first time, it's not perfect. It's okay. So okay, let me get to the curve.
Even
So I'm
the
holding
second
the
and
board.
third time. Not perfect.
So I'm holding the board, I'm holding the tape. Okay, so I'm gonna start it. Come on, you. And listen, if it feels like your razor blade is getting a little dull, then just flip it over and use the other side. Just flip it around. And then use the other side. You're only using it with one. Come on. There we go. Okay. So when you get to the curve, all right, so here I am at the curve. I'm holding the grip tape here. I'm holding the board. And I just sort of, it's okay to stop. And then just put it back on where you ended. Make sure it's coming up. And then you sort of just, I will flip it around halfway through if I need to. And complete that curve. Phew! I didn't know how that was going to go. It's okay. We all have to do this. It's okay.
Watch your thigh.
We can do it. And we're going to clean up. We're going to
So like that's like, okay.
Yeah, we're going to clean that up in a minute because I have it too. It's not quite as evident, but there are spots. Oh, perfect. Thanks. How's it going, everybody?
Slightly getting better.
Do you have any advice for when it's like a situation like this where it's so close? Like, would you try to?
Oh, right. I mean, foot grab. Ah! So
I can trim it to like here, but this is like, I don't know. I'll try it.
oh, that's a good question. So what I would do, so you know when you trim, like here's a problem spot. Okay, so you're gonna trim. Sorry, it was so bad. I'm so old. So I would just take the razor blade. I'll say this again when you're all ready. And I would push up the little bit that is out of line with the rest of it.
Okay.
And it actually just came off, but
Okay. And do
it
that
might
way.
just come off that way, but another spot. Yeah, but if you overhang it all, just peel it up with the razor blade just a little bit so that it's not sticking anymore. And then you can find a sharp spot on your blade. I think we've got a couple extra razor blades so we can bust those open. But then you just shave it off. And you know, you might take off a little too much when you're shaving off the part that's overhung. But I would say it's better to take off a little too much than to let it overhang.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Agreed. It doesn't work.
Should I make it pretty now by touching up the edges?
Yeah, so like I was saying, if you just peel up, see if there's any spot real top. So like if you peel up, it's definitely not that bad, but if you peel it up, you can just like shave it off ever so slightly.
Okay, so you're just trying to like get a consistent edge of color.
Right, but I will say this, like I think that probably
Take some pictures for
the part that needs the most, like this little one you can take off, and then this little area here
Yeah,
is
it's too much.
It's a little too much. So all you want to do is pry it up a little bit with the razor blade so that it's not perfect, like so it's not totally stuck down, and then you just shave it right off. How's it going over here? How you feel?
I think there's areas that I need to trim, but
Sure, here, look around.
we don't see a lot of purple. I see a little.
Oh,
bit
it's
purple
also because like
occasionally.
it blends into the black too.
Yeah,
Yours
sometimes when
is
it's
dark on
darker.
dark.
Well, I mean, like there's little sections of purple, but there's also a lot of sections where there's no purple.
So in these little sections, I would just pry it up a little bit, like so, and then you just, maybe you can, there you go. Like I said before, it's better to like overcut this a little bit than to leave it rolling over. So, and then, you know, like there's some little spots, and you might not even need to pull them up. You might still be able to do this and get them right off. So I would just put it down. So. Yeah, I mean,
Like I'm trying to like clean that up, but I can't like.
yeah, fair enough.
I'm having trouble getting it started.
Yeah, I am too, actually. So it's not here. Is what I'm getting at. It's not here. That's what I need. It was, okay, so it was literally the blade. Have you already switched it around?
Maybe not.
So if you, so when I say switch it this way,
Yeah. Okay. I just feel a little bit. What's more like is that was too far in on that side or no? Oh, like you want a little thing.
yeah, you, so you don't want it to, rather than having a roll.
You don't mind if I take a photo of you?
That's fine.
Too much. I think that's preferable because the rolling over will make it come off much more quickly than if you cut it a little short. If you cut it a little short, it will roll up eventually. But as I said before, this is not like platinum. I mean, also, just know that, I might be in there maybe.
Oh yeah, I'll
No, sorry. Yeah, I mean, you can go too far. Like, at some point, this is not gonna be perfect. And again, if you're a maker, if you've been making things that are handmade, you know that it's almost never perfect. There's
And it-
always something.
Yeah, and it also gets worn down as you skate. It kind of cleans that edge up a little bit for you as well.
Exactly.
As long as it's not overhanging, it's like fine.
Exactly. If you look at Sarah's board, if you got to look at it, it is worn down enough in spots, like especially on the nose. The nose, that's the nose. Like it's almost, you can't even see where the edge is except for that's where the paint has worn away. But that tape, if you need to replace that, you need a heat gun or a hairdryer. But I mean, she did a fine job cutting this, and it's already worn down into it, so it's not going to start rolling up anytime soon. Like literally, the only place I might be worried is around the cut edges. So. What are we going to put those holes with?
There's that scaffold.
Yeah.
Don't you usually just use the screwdriver?
I actually usually use either the skinny file.
Oh.
That's what that pointy end is. That's why it's all messed up because I used it so much. Or I use.
Are we poking the holes next?
Yep. So that's what we're gonna do. When you're all done, let me know.
I think I'm good enough for this.
I think that you're also good enough. That looks great.
Yeah, is this, I feel like the more I'm trying to fix, it's not, the more it's not making it any better.
I mean, I think like just little places where it's overhanging and loose,
Okay.
that would be like, what do you think, Jen? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
other than that, it's like, this, and maybe right here.
Okay.
Like when you can kind of catch it that because you don't want it to catch and unadhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Agreed.
Hers looks good.
Yeah, you guys have this much steadier hands, I noticed.
Mine is not as
Mine's just kind of
smooth as
wavy.
hers. I mean, but like I was saying, it's like,
better
it's
choose
points
second.
like this
Yeah.
that are the worrisome points.
Just like tell my kid I made like a crimped edge, you know, like real stylish. You
It's
know?
like
Yeah.
it's like pie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I crimped it.
I need a sharper edge for this one.
I feel like with everything skateboarding, it's like, until you do it, you're like, oh, okay. And then you try it and you're like, oh, dang, this is really hard. Like before I skated, it was like, oh, okay, cool. But then I was like, oh, this is really difficult.
And also, there's something, if it's just not going to go, sometimes it just
Yeah.
won't go. If you can't get it to come off, if you can't get it to trim, don't keep trying, because what's going to happen is you will lodge your razor blade into the board,
Yes.
and you'll be sad about it. We'll all be sad about it. And if it just won't come off, great, it's not coming off.
Right.
It's going to take a lot of effort for that grip tape to come off at that point. So no worries about it being perfect or exactly where Jennifer said it should be. I mean, I'm looking at this board that I just did, and there's some spots where, yes, I wish the grip tape wasn't there. But I know that if I keep chipping at it, I'm going to produce a result that I'm not happy with at all. It's going to rip into the main part of the grip tape. It's going to be even more lumpy than I want it to be. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. But just, and as Sarah said, if you run your fingers around and you catch it on something that is really sticking out, then yes, that should definitely come off. But otherwise, just leave it be. Take that off. Just gotta stop. I gotta stop.
No, you can get obsessive about it. You're just like,
You really can.
Yeah.
And I was just about to do that, but I listened to Sarah and I stopped myself. I used to poke a hole in this thing.
There's some pokey drill bit things that
There was.
good.
So what I usually like to do is I like to have something skinny and long enough that I can poke a little hole through the side that I can see. So if you turn your board over,
Alright.
you'll see 8 holes, 4 up here, 4 down here. And so I poke it through just so that I can outline where it is. I mean, if you're feeling lucky, I mean, I guess you could try and find it on the side that is opaque and totally blocking.
That's tough.
I don't feel particularly lucky at any point in my life, so I like to go the other way. But I'm not particularly skinny.
Okay.
I think fits perfectly in that hole.
Oh, does that? Oh.
Yeah, this thing fits pretty well.
Well, fine then, you perfect people.
So are we just supposed
Around when you're
to
done.
stab through?
Yeah, so I would poke it just
Gently
enough,
stab.
just enough
Gently
through.
stab?
I would not hammer it through. We're not putting a hole through. We're not putting a hole through
Just none of
that
this.
way. We want to just make it so that we can see
Oh,
the
we just
white
like
outline.
indent it, so.
Right, so we can see it on the other side.
Okay.
And then once you do that, you can, if
Oh, I see it.
anybody wants to throw me their skinny little guy,
Is that a knitting needle you're using?
Yeah, this works really well.
awesome. So once you put those holes through, what I like to do, okay, so there are my little, I also put my little finger there so I don't poke all the way through, because this is what I like to do, and not everybody feels this strongly about it, but I poke the hole through and then I give it a little wiggle so it's sort of, it's not quite laminating, but it sort of pokes the grip tape through.
Okay.
Because we're going to put the hardware through, and we want it to sit underneath.
Okay.
Real fast. Oh, I went through. dang it. If you do go through, it's not the end of the world. We're gonna put it right back. So in and around, in and around, in and around, in and around.
Yeah.
To you.
I feel like the knitting needle is ideal because you can just go around and then the poke thing. It's just like a really good tool.
I mean, I don't know why there's only one knitting.
I'm sorry.
It seems, yeah.
But yeah, the file that I like the best, which Carrie knows,
But he refused
but
to provide
refused to
us.
send through with
Sorry.
you.
It's like a sibling thing. Like
I know, right?
The little,
It's really skinny. It's like this triangle of file, and it has two pointy ends, one of which has broken off long since we started using it, and the other one has broken off in increments, so it still has like one tiny little pointy end, and it's just long enough to reach through and make that indentation, and then you turn it around and you poke it through and you wiggle it around. But you know, not everybody does that way. I've seen sweet kiddos. I say kiddos because they're like 15-year-old boys.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the epitome of kiddo for me. They take their hardware and they poke the holes through that way, and you can do it. It's not a big deal. But then what ends up happening is you get a lot of board residue on your hardware. So when everybody has the holes, let me know, and we will move on to the next
Is there a
part.
tool that I could borrow?
A tool?
Is the knitting needle still?
Where's that? I won't go all the way through on that side though. So you might need the knitting needle.
No.
Or what were you using, Lydia?
The
Okay.
skinny filter.
All right. I mean, really, we took a lot of time with the grip tape because that really is the
Most important.
most important thing, one of the hardest things to do, one of the most intimidating things to do. The next steps, if you know how to use some tools, that's not going to be very difficult. And even if you don't know how to use the tools, I'm going to explain it. It's gonna be fine. I wonder if that weird little hook tool will make it all the way through.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. I didn't even
looks
try
like
it.
the angle is-
This doesn't
yeah.
go through.
Yeah.
Boo.
I attempted to use was
That?
the pliers,
Oh, that might be good.
but then she gave me this, which is like,
Okay. Nothing like, okay. Oh, yes.
Wait.
I have
Is,
this
is,
if you
is
want.
this fine or should the holes be cleaner?
Those are great.
Okay.
Those are fine. I know, right? Once you get through that part, it's just like sigh. Oh my gosh, one of the
Yeah.
first times I had to do grip tape on my own with nobody standing over me and helping.
Uh-huh.
It was a super busy day at the park.
Oh
Night.
my
It wasn't even
gosh.
day. It was nighttime. It was like a Friday or Saturday night at the park, full of
Full
the
of young
most
men.
toxic. Like we've met. This was like when we first opened. We had some super toxic skaters who would come.
Yeah.
And the pandemic has sort of weeded them out, and also our programming has
Yeah.
weeded them out. So they know that we aren't going to tolerate that kind of BS.
Yeah.
And so, but like this guy, like but it's like really intimidating when you are almost, if not the only woman sitting there.
Yes.
and they're all like standing, and I'm taller than most of them. Let's just be honest about this. I'm bigger than probably all of them.
Yeah.
Could beat them up.
I could probably sit on them. And they'd be hurting. But they're all like standing over me, and I'm trying to like grip a board like without the net. Doing a terrible job.
Anyone? Any needle?
Good. But it was that happened a couple times, and then after that I started to get better, and it was super awesome. And, then I had to grip like 5 or 6 boards a day for Christmas during the pandemic when we were mailing everything out.
Wow.
That really cured me. That was like, all right, I can do this in any condition.
Yes.
I will flourish under any condition. Okay, so I mean that just says that it's not an easy thing. It's not like, oh, you should be able to do this first time. Like that's not true. And there are plenty of people, like I said before, who've been skating for a long time who just can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'll do it for you because I like to do it actually. All right, so you do not have to lay out your hardware, but I did because look how pretty it is. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our boards and we're going to decide which is the front, which is the nose. And I think, are they all symmetrical? I feel that they're all. I felt like one was a little wonky, but maybe it was just my eyeballs.
Oh, the nose and the tail were different.
Which one was it?
It might be one that's not the one on the end that's not being filled.
Oh, thank God. Okay, we're gonna ignore that one for
Yeah.
now. Okay, so I don't know if I said this before, but boards come in different shapes and sizes. What we have right now is currently the standard. When I say currently, because tastes change. When skateboarding first came out, they were very shaped. The front was very narrow and pointy, and it would like come back, and then it would have this really crazy fin tail.
Yeah.
But now it looks kind of like a bent popsicle stick, and that's why we call it the popsicle shape. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our board, just turn it on around, look at your graphic. Mine is insanely symmetrical. It could be either way.
Wait, there's words.
There's real. They're words, and they go either way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did
real.
that to you. I just.
So look at your graphic. And Lydia's is perfect because there's Kitty Cat.
Yeah.
And Kitty goes a certain way, so hers is easy. Good job picking the easy one. And just decide which is the front. I've decided this is my front. And you decided which one is your front. I think, I would agree.
Yeah.
And again, yours does not matter at all. That totally works for me. Yes, that's the front. So I like to start at the front just because I'm a crazy person. What I'd like to do, we all have the same hardware. Not all hardware comes like this. This particular brand, I don't know if everybody was here when I was talking about it, but this particular brand comes with 2 differently colored bolts. And they do that so that you can put those in the front so that you can tell which is the front, especially if you have a solid piece of your tape. There are other kinds of bolts. They come with, they're all gold, or they're all silver, or we've got cute little ones called Little Buddies that are rainbow.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
They've got 5 different colors, which really hurts my heart, because I'm like, can we just do 6? Could we just have added 2 more extra colors? Come on. But they have these great rainbows. So what I want to do, because we have this option, is I'm going to take the 2 blue ones and I want to put them through the very top 2 holes. And we're going to put the hardware in just the top. We're going to work on 1 set of trucks at a time. Oh, are they all on that? They are. Excellent. Love it.
Do you want to put the 2 black ones in the top truck also?
So
or
we're
just-
going to put the 2 blue ones there, and then 2
black ones.
The rest will be all
But just
black.
not do the ones way at the bottom.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for clarifying. This was my first workshop.
It's okay. I am the queen of clarifying. I work with like 3-year-olds.
Oh my God, 3-year-olds are the worst!
No. Teenagers are the worst.
What are teenagers?
Teenagers are the worst.
Okay, I mean, I will
Because
agree
they're
with
the
you
same
on
as 3-year-olds, except you would expect them to be better.
that. That's an excellent point.
I just
favorite.
avoid children altogether. I'm like, only adults.
I've had a number of friends who teach high school, and we like are talking about what's going on in our classrooms, and they're like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, my kids are doing this." I'm like, "My kids are doing that too," and they're like, "Wait a minute, your kids are 3." I'm like, "I know, yours are getting
And
different."
they're all mentally damaged right now. So I have a 12-year-old who, for the first time ever in the history of his school, they're having a problem with fights.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
I know, they've never had that before, but they're having fights with weapons, and you're like, what?
Wow.
At ECS.
Wait, are the kids also doing that?
At
What's it called? The sick licks where they just steal a random thing from their school?
Is it like seeing these like TikToks?
Yeah. I'm not even sure if I'm using the term right.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to trust you either way. Yeah.
She took a box cutter from a shop class. That just happened last week, and then a couple weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago now, they're calling it a girl fight, which just makes me angry, but that's
It was
literally
a fight.
between two girls.
It was a fight,
And
period.
so they're
Yeah.
calling it that, but that's what they call it too. Did you see the girl fight? Did you see the girl fight? I'm like, were there weapons involved? Because I just hear fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, she had like a like severely sharpened pencil that she tried to stab another
Whoa.
student with.
Like a prison shank?
Yes!
That's exactly what it was.
Surprising.
2 years of lockdown.
Yeah, I'm serious.
I feel like, yeah,
So
like
much like
everyone's so
aggression and
stressed and
Yeah.
especially kids.
Especially
I can't
kids.
imagine.
What are they fighting about?
I don't really know
You
because
looked at me funny.
TikTok
You
beefs?
took my pencil.
right,
You
exactly.
wouldn't let me sit at the, you looked at my man funny.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
really
gonna, like,
Yeah.
silly stuff that
It's
normally they wouldn't
You
fight
did that
about.
TikTok challenge wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. I just want to say that babies are my favorite age group because they don't fight yet. And when they do, you just put them on their backs. You're like, ah, what do I do now?
But that only lasts for like a month,
and
and then they learn how to roll over.
dang it.
Oh wait, why do I have 2 extra?
Okay, so
Because
this
there's 10
particular
instead of
company
8.
comes,
Okay.
it comes with 8 black ones and 2 extra colors. So we're not going
What?
to use those extra.
This one right now.
This
But
is
you
the
could
one.
use
Okay.
all black if that was
You could
your
do all black if
preference.
that was your
Yeah.
aesthetic,
Yeah.
but right now we're doing it for people who don't really know how to skateboard very
Yeah.
well. So we're going to use the blue to denote the front. All right, so the truck. Go ahead and back the truck, I love it. So if you can see that it's shaped like this. We're going to put, this is called the kingpin right here. We're going to put the kingpin so that it's facing the center of the board. When we get to the other side, we're going to do the same thing.
And these trucks are identical, it doesn't matter
They
which
are
one.
identical, exactly. They usually are. I'm trying to think of some instances where they wouldn't be. Maybe on a longboard, maybe.
Possibly. I've never seen any that aren't.
I've never seen any that aren't either, unless you're Wendy. Sorry.
Okay. I feel like there's some like beef there.
Oh, there's a lot of beef
Okay,
there. There's a lot of beef. Wendy was a person who worked at the skate shop for a while, and she's a nice person. She means well, but she's not always nice. And she sold a set of trucks that were mismatched,
Oh.
and that's not good because and they were off by like one size, so it wasn't super obvious. But then we had this mismatched set of trucks. We're like, what the heck happened here? We've never been able to fix it. I don't even know what Carrie did with that extra truck. But, you know, it can mess with things. It can make somebody who is a new skater never want to skate again. It can also, you know, mess with our reputation as not a good skate shop.
Yeah, is there a liability issue if you give them a bad board?
Not, I don't think so for us. We have had wheels from different companies that have like flown apart, and that's generally what happens. What?
It's on the company.
It's on the company, and they'll usually replace it. Like if you call the company, you're like, what the heck happened here? They'll be like, give them some new wheels, we'll send you another pair, or whatever. Okay, so what we're gonna do is the bolts will generally stay in. The friction from the tape is holding them in, but I still like to put my hand behind it just to make sure, because sometimes they do fall out. It's really annoying. I'm going to put each of the nuts on just to hand tighten them so that the trucks don't fall off. We're going to tighten them all the way in just a second.
You're putting on this side?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for
Yes.
clarifying. So when you look at the nut, you're going to take that flat side and you're going to put that in. So the flat
Oh.
side will make
Hope I did.
contact with the truck.
What do you mean by the flat side?
Did I do it right? I think I did it
The
right.
larger side
Yeah.
or the smaller
has
side?
that weird trim.
Yeah.
I think I
So
did it right.
The
flat
plastic-
side goes in.
The
plastic
side that doesn't have
Yeah.
a round thing.
That's
then,
right. The side that doesn't have a round thing, that plasticky
Okay.
bit that the coating
Sorry.
wraps around.
One side is bigger and one side is
Yeah,
smaller.
the
Yeah.
smaller side is on the exterior.
Exactly.
Mhm.
on
Okay,
the
so the
front.
bigger side goes on, touches the truck.
Exactly.
Okay. Just like all other bolts that you put on all other things.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And that is a great
But if you don't put
clarification.
bolts on things, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Right, and actually, again, there are a lot of people I know that have skated for a long time, and I watch them putting their boards
And they
together.
put it
I'm
on
like,
the other
what
way.
the heck are you doing there, my friend?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? This is the way it goes. I'm like, it's not.
It might work better if you do it this way. Why don't you try it and see what you think? We can always change it if you don't like it.
Exactly.
Uh,
So, if you don't know, you don't know. Sometimes you have to be really gentle when you tell somebody some new information. You don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
do we take
just
these?
tighten them with the screwdriver next?
So
Yeah.
next what we're going to do, so I'm going to hand tighten. The next thing you're doing, I like to cradle my board gently.
Arrested.
Find your screwdriver. I don't have a screwdriver.
There's a bunch of small ones and
I like the long one, but I don't want to. I don't want to take advantage.
And then the
Do you
screwdriver
have
on the other
tools?
side, you're
We
just
all
gonna
have
spin it round and round and
tools.
round. It's not
Yeah.
gonna tighten.
You guys have tools?
Mine's
All right.
tight.
So before you get
It'll tighten a couple
Oh,
of notches and then it'll
Ah, okay,
start
okay.
to-
More, there.
Any more what?
So if
And
you
then
have,
Are you sticking a thing in there, like a screwdriver to hold
yeah.
it?
So
Okay.
hold on a second,
Yeah.
everybody. First of all, I need you to find your skate tool. Where is your skate tool?
The teeth.
It's that T tool.
Okay.
I want to break that. Wrap it. If you feel comfortable with that, you can use it. Grab that one tool. What do I have one? I need a tool. Thanks. Are there any more?
I thought we had 5.
There's 6 of us.
Oh.
You guys have some? Great.
Yeah, yeah. We're using them right now.
Okay.
Okay.
How
great.
tight are we taking these?
Okay, so what we're gonna do,
So just wait, because you don't want to crack the board.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Take your Phillips head screwdriver